12 minutes past 12, alive 9.5 Business Insights with Mario and Darren.
Hey, good afternoon to all listeners in Australia and overseas. Thank you for joining us live on my Facebook page, Business Insights with Darren and Mario. You can listen to this show a little bit later today after 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Thanks to Darren Caps Davis again on our website online905.com.au. There's going to be a podcast recorded from this interview with our guest in the studio. And trust me, you wanted to listen to this. She is all about changes, but to be successful in changing other people's lives and businesses, you must be successful in your own changes. And it's painful sometimes, I must say. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me read a little bio about our guest today. So, she's going to correct us. So, Darren, this is how story goes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, listeners to Business Insights. No, that's that we really say
Very
so.
kind.
Our guest in studio, her name is Friska Virja. If I didn't pronounce this properly, Friska, you just correct me, please. She shifts resistance into resilience, results, and return of interest, a change management consultant, trainer, and coach. So, Friska, instead of me reading these things, you know what I mean, it's quite impressive, and I think that our listeners can be just only confused as much as, as I'm reading this. Do you mind to share with us who is a Friska Virja? So please, if I didn't pronounce properly, blame Darren, okay? So
I know it's an incredibly difficult surname to get right. It's Friska Virja.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Do
please.
you know you can study on LinkedIn now? Most people put their...
I did do that, yeah.
And that's how I knew.
Sorry, what?
You know, on LinkedIn,
Really?
you go
The
to
little
their
voice
name,
clip.
The little voice clip that you can do. Have you done yours?
Well, I didn't know this.
Oh.
No, really? Oh, God.
We'll sort it out after.
So
We'll make a
Great.
change. We'll make a change after.
we'll make a change on that one. So, yeah, so thank you, Darren. I didn't know this. So it's okay. It's about guests. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
I'm
so who is
Friska?
Sure. I'm a change management consultant. So what the hell is change management? I get asked this question all the time. So it's the discipline that shapes how we help prepare, support, and equip individuals to transition from the status quo. So what I do is I help big global organizations and the individuals within them to more readily accept and thrive through change. And change comes in all shapes, sizes, and complexity. It could be a digital transformation. It could be a new merger and acquisition, countless process, system, and policy changes, or it could be a shift of corporate values. So that's what I do. I help businesses get from A to B while minimizing productivity dips and improving engagement.
Yeah, but who is Friska?
Who's Friska?
Yeah.
I'm a change connoisseur. Like, I've literally changed and transformed my life multiple times, and that's why I help others do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what did you change from?
Well, I'll start right from the beginning.
That's
then.
what we
Please,
want.
the day you're born, 1969. It's
Got a
like,
song about
It
that.
was a cold and dreary night. and blah, blah, blah. No, actually, it was bloody damn hot because I was born in Jakarta, Indonesia. And from a very young age, change was already a big part of my life. So I lost both my parents at 2 weeks old. So I never knew them. And in Jakarta in those days, it was a very dangerous time. Lots of civil unrest, lots of conflict and clashes and riots. And so, hey, a big change. I moved to Perth, Australia in the single digits. And, it was the closest city to Jakarta. We wanted to fly back and forth every time. So I went with my grandparents and aunties and uncles, some extended family. And, it was a big change, a new language, new environment. And in that time, in the early 80s, it was, again, a very challenging time. We were one of the first Asian families to come over. And, it was very, very racist. I've had, I've been spat on. I've had broken bottles and rotten fruit thrown at me. I've been told to go back where I come from many times. And funnily enough, it comes from all sources. Yes, you're, derelicts hanging around the train station, the entitled kids at school, but also educated, well-to-do businessmen. And so, and at school, I was miserable. I was, because I was different, I was bullied day in, day out for the way I looked, my funny name, which no one can pronounce clearly.
Okay, it's for me because I can't even speak English properly. So like that's why I have the Darren here. He always help me on that. He just says this way. But look, it's as much as it's maybe hard to pronounce, but it is exotic. It's different.
It is different. Yes.
But may I ask you on that note, when you are little, how old you are when you arrive in Perth?
3.
So from that early age, you experienced racism, right?
Oh yes, very much so.
And you grow up with this one. So what was that inner energy, or who was there? Somebody for you who told you, "Don't worry, just push this ahead." Was anybody told you, "Don't continue, ignore the people who doesn't like you"?
There was not one source or person that did that. Rather, it was a few different influences, like some teachers, just some people, some family friends. Yeah, but really, people can talk to you until they're blue in the face, but you need to decide internally who to listen to and who not to. And that's why I just kept on pushing forward. But for a very long time, it hurt. So that was a big change that I had to make. And after that, I was ping-ponged from auntie to auntie, from uncle to uncle. And I, was bullied every day at school, came home and was pretty much ignored. I was always the outsider looking on someone else's happy family unit, right? My cousins all had their parents and whatnot. And after a while, I got sick of having Barbie and books as a BFF. Like, seriously.
Why is that there?
Seriously. And so I thought, what do? I need to make a change. And I wanted to try it on my own, and I asked to go to Sydney. So at the age of 13, 14 at the time.
On your own?
On my own, yeah. They said no, obviously, but then I proceeded to go on a hunger strike, and 3 days later, that no turned into a yes.
Hunger strike, Darren. Wow.
Well, I was determined. I was very unhappy, and I wanted to make a change, and so I thought, right, where's the furthest I can go while still staying in the country? And the appeal of a big city, drew me in. And so I went, at first staying with a friend of the family before then sharing a house with a few other girls in Kingsford. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much had to raise myself. I put myself through high school, put myself through uni. But what happens when you make a change that drastic and you're not supported by guardians or parents, or, you make many life mistakes typical of a young, impressionable girl in the big smoke. And so for a number of years, I, did enough partying for probably 3 lifetimes, barely finished high school, and just got involved with the wrong crowd, and then I went into a downward spiral for a good number of years. And again, I thought, I need to make a change, but I couldn't. Change crippled me. And somehow I get my, I get, like I said, I was a lot of partying, and because I didn't know how to self-soothe myself, I started numbing my pain in toxic ways, and next thing you know, I'm a full-blown opioid addict, right? And so for a while, the years go by in a drug-induced haze, and I thought, right, is this it? Is this life? Day in, day out. And so somehow, by sheer good fortune, I get my first job, and it was as an office manager of a executive coaching consultancy. And included in my salary were coaching sessions with the owner, and she was an organizational psychologist. And so I start there, and one morning, that little critic inside your voice that tells you, you're not good enough, that this is it, that you shouldn't ever hope for something more. That voice happened a lot. But this one morning, it was just wouldn't stop. It was just so deafening. And I smoked my usual pre-work hit of opioids, and I make my way into the office as usual. And I was still relatively new to the role. And as luck would have it, that was the day of one of my coaching sessions with her. And so I go in, eyes dull and lifeless, and I slink into the couch for my usual session. And I proceed to just open up to my still relatively new boss. And she just sat there and looked at me. And then she grabbed my hand and put her hand in mine and started to tell me her life story. So at that time, she was 52. She was commanding thousands and thousands of dollars a day coaching executives, consulting. But little did I know, she started her first university degree at the age of 42. She was homeless with 2 young children under 5 living in her car. She used to be morbidly obese, an alcoholic, and had overcome decades of sexual, physical, emotional abuse.
Such a story. I mean, Darren, you and I, we don't talk. You know, like I'm seeing you, I'm seeing
just
myself, and
listening.
just talking this. And I tell you something, because Darren and I have the full right to say some things on radio, and I truly congratulate you for having the. I can't express myself anatomy-wise what part of the body, but for the courage to you talk this in front of the millions of listeners today, and that's what makes you true hero, Friska. And that's what makes you the perfect person to help other ones to change their life, because you go through that part of yourself, right? I'm seeing Darren, he's going transition as well from corporation to something else, and you need to have the courage for these things to admit, because people around us doesn't admit things, Everybody talks about beautiful things.
There's a lot of fakers
Yes,
around.
life is beautiful. Let
Yeah.
me give you some tips and advice. The COVID comes, they disappeared.
Yeah.
This is what I love it about this radio and the Friska. We'll take a short break. And again, on behalf of the Business Insights with Mari and Darren, thank you for your courage sharing with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Friska Vidya with us in studio. Darren and I will take you to the short break.
It's 28 minutes past 12 on Live 90.5. Business Insights with Larry and Darren.
Thank you to all listeners of Live 90.5, particularly this business radio talk show, Business Insights with Darren and Mario. And I'd like to say thank you to all sponsors of this great radio station. We are truly privileged today to have a true business son hero, Friska Vidya. She shared with us her life story, which is, it's not easy to ingest, because honesty and bravery and courage in that story, it's tremendous. Look, Friska, I can relate somehow for these things. I never, there's a moment in life when you don't see nothing else except what you're doing this currently to make you happy. And I don't remember when I was in military, and particularly in war, we used to be sharing the needle, but not needle with the drug, but with the vodka, what I mean? And we had all these sorts of things just to survive another day. And there was no tomorrow for us. I know that much, and I do remember that we stopped because it was a moment when in life you don't feel well anymore. But nobody was prepared for the changes, and I wish we have somebody like yourself to be changed. So your change started with your work with that lady. She runs, what did you say, thousands of people, changing lives, and
Yeah, she was a corporate coach, consulting to executives and CEOs, and she had literally transformed her life. She had gone through decades of abuse and turned everything around. And what really started it was, after sharing her story, she looked at me and she just said, "Kiddo, if I can do it, you can do it too." And that's like any significant transformation, whether in your personal life or whether in an organization, it starts because someone is inspired by seeing what's possible. And I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think I could do it. But here was someone that had gone through significantly more than I had, and she could do it. So it made me realize, look, we all have 24 hours in the day. Time is a great equalizer, and it depends on how you use it. And the very next day, I went to a GP. I got a referral to a methadone clinic and started the journey to make the most difficult, transformative and exhausting change of my life, and it took 2 years.
So just to ask you one more time, when the people going to change, when is the moment when somebody, individual or business, is prepared to change?
It's when they realize that the pain of staying the same is a lot smaller than the benefit of the future change, the future state. Yeah.
That's incredible, Darren. I mean, that's an incredible story.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, well, like I feel like there's not very much moments when Darren and I were quiet. Usually we ask a million questions. So that journey started with that person. How did you felt? Firstly, did you admit that your boss what you're going through? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no judgment, nothing.
Nah, she'd gone through exactly the same. And we're all people at the end of the day. No judgment at all. And after
That's
that,
good, yeah.
she worked with me to be flexible in what hours I would be able to go into the office, because with a program of that sort, you literally physically have to go to the clinic, get your dose every single day without fail, because it's all about creating new habits, making positive changes in your life. So yeah, she staggered my hours, very, very flexible, very supportive. Yeah. And she was the one that encouraged me to throw myself back into academia. I was always ridiculously bright as a child without even trying, just straight A's. And I'd lost my way because, I was involved in very toxic substances. And so I applied myself, entered the mature age tertiary test to go back to uni, and smashed it in the top 10%. And then I applied myself, went back, won a scholarship to study in California, bang, 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 do my postgrad, do an MBA, and I never looked back. So I cut toxic substances, toxic people, and toxic thoughts from my life. Yeah.
So if somebody comes to you, on the street, a friend, client, and says, I can't change, would you accept the answer no?
No, I wouldn't.
Why is that? Please share with us. Why wouldn't you would not accept answer no if somebody says, I can't change?
Because whatever change someone is trying to do, you can bet that someone before them has already done it. So if they can, what excuse do you have to not do it? Yeah.
So it's all about excuses in changing process, right?
Yeah. And it's all about, like, I have a framework that helps me in both my personal life and when I'm consulting to corporates, and it's support, skills, structures, and systems. So support, like any change, it needs to be supported at the top. So what support do you need to enable that change to come to life? So for example, if it's a new digital transformation that a company is embarking on, that support means C-suite support. So who are the advocates in the business? How can they better influence your business case? What can you do to get them to be in your corner? So that's that. In terms of skills, so what are the skills you need? So, when I was trying to change, I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't even know how to get a good night's sleep. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to manage my money. All these skills I didn't know, so I had to go get them, right? And the same comes in any change, whether it's an organization. You don't know how to use this particular system. Well, get some training, right? So that's the skills quadrant. And then it's about structures. So structures is about embedding habits. So me daily taking the bus by myself from Kingsford to Bondi, that was part of the structure. I knew what to do. And the same in an organization. So structure could mean embedding the change in people's roles, in their personal development plans. Maybe you need to change how you set KPIs, so to make sure everything is in alignment with the future change you're trying to create. And lastly, S is systems. So what systems can you create to make sure you're continuously improving? So I set little mini goals for myself, and for me, it was pretty easy. You could see the progress. Like every month, the dosage would go down. So that's a measurable benchmark that you can visualize your progress. Yes. So you can do that in an organization. So what metrics make sense for the change? Is it reduced turnover? Is it adoption? Is it proficiency? Is it the number of people that get on board? So whatever it is, you need to set systems to enable you to collate the data and to see where you're making progress and where you're not.
On that topic, when we talk about changes, you talking from your experience, which you passed on your clients, and then, I was blown away that you postgraduate student and MBA and all this in California. So you've done it all this hard yakka, but how do we know that we need to change something? What we need to change? I know you're coming there. So somebody comes to you and say like, okay, Friska, I want you to come in my company and I need to change, I don't know, the windows, just figure of speech. How do you assess some corporation, somebody in your organization, need to be changed. So I want to change the windows. You say you can tell me, no, you and Darren don't need windows in the studio. You need to change, I don't know, the floors. So how do you know what needs to be changed?
So usually clients come to me when they have a problem.
Okay, that's how it is.
Yeah. Usually they either profits are going down, people are leaving in droves. They've installed a significant enterprise-wide ERP system and no one's using it. So there's a problem. There's some
What are you laughing,
symptoms
Darren?
there.
What are you laughing? It's just.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
This is the first one in 36 minutes I heard your voice say. So why are you laughing? What is the classic? Tell me.
Oh, it's about
I don't know what that means.
people bring systems in, enterprise resource planning. So basically something to run your business at a high level. Someone will come in, sell it, and put it in, and it won't go in properly because all the change hasn't been done well. And I'm sure Friska will lead us through those sort of
100%.
steps that need to take place. But
yeah.
it'll be in one of those 4 quadrants of support, skills, structure, third one?
Yep.
And systems.
And systems, yeah.
There you go. I'm
That's
learning quickly.
You are. That is a brilliant example because all these companies...
Sorry, I'm just going to take a break so
Yeah.
you two can continue. I don't know these things, darling. Well, how about we take a short break and I'm going to hack the brain of Frisk and Darren because they talk as abbreviations I never heard in my life. You're listening alive, 90.5 Business Insights with Darren and Mario. I'd like to say thank you to our guest, Friska Birja, sharing with her powerful personal story and for business success, how she changed other ones for the better. You're listening live 90.5 Business Insights with Mario.
17 minutes to 1. Live 90.5 Business Insights with Mario and Darren.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who joined us on our Facebook, Business Insights with Mario and Darren, and joining us live in the studio with our special guest. And we got this awesome interview with Friska Birja, which she's gone through tremendous changes in her life, and she has a full authority and credibility to change your life, your personal or your business life on much better level than you're right now. So please join us on our live 905.com.au. Thanks to Darren Capes Davis. Later on today after 6 or 7 p.m. there's going to be a podcast on the Business Insights with Mario and Darren, and you want to hear that interview. So Friska, there's so many questions about changes. What changes we don't accept as a humans or in organization? What we are most allergic to be changing on? Our opinion?
What are we most allergic to? What's
Yeah, to be changed. You come somewhere to change, everything, but there must be something we don't want to ever change.
Yeah, well...
What is that?
It's not about what type of change, but it's when we don't know why the change is being made, and we don't know what the impact will be on us. So let me give you an example. Yeah.
No, thank you very much.
I'm listening.
I'm just joking. Please continue.
Okay, this friend of mine, he was an immigration lawyer, and he would often have to go to the U.S. consulate to represent his clients. And suddenly, the process changed. It used to be pretty quick. You put your briefcase on the X-ray machine, you get scanned, and bang, off you go. But this time, everything had to be dismantled. His socks and shoes had to be taken off. The tie and the jacket had to be taken off. Long story short, it ate up an extra hour of his day. And he was getting more and more frustrated. He's like, bloody hell, what the heck is going on? So finally he snaps at the security guard. He goes, I don't understand why these security processes have been changed. Did you know it's eating up an hour of my time? I'm a billable lawyer, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the security guard says, hey, these things have been changed because actually we got a bomb threat 2 weeks ago, and really this is just for your own safety and everybody that works here. He felt like 2 inches small, right? But it's because there were no signs. Nobody was told why, so they regard it as an inconvenience. And when people don't know the why, they get very angry and angsty. So that's an example.
Is it just about knowing the why or agreeing with the why as well?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You have to know it first before you
True.
can finally accept
What about if
it.
you don't agree? What about if I don't agree that they need to be safe, and I'll just say, yep, still too much time.
That's a good one.
Yeah, well, to get around that, you would then deploy a resistance management strategy and say, okay, how would we manage it then? What's your suggestion? So in an organization, it could be as matter as asking someone's opinion. Look, we're not perfect. Do you see a better way to manage this risk? Then tell me about it. I'm all ears.
Oh, throw it back to me.
Jesus, this.
Harry, can you help me?
No, I try. No, I let you deliberately purposely. No, Safa, no. I know. I was shocked. I was shocked. The reply from the Friska because that's.
No, but your reaction is how many people react in organizations. As soon as it's like, oh, actually, I don't know. So this could be the best way that you're managing it.
Yes.
And then again, that diffuses the situation.
The point it is, Darren and I, we were working through the COVID, just two of us, but, it was restriction of seeing people. And, we were in studio here twice per week. And we interviewed quite a lot of people during the COVID. And we saw that the changes are happening, not like on a long run, but on a daily basis. And what I'm seeing right now, that every organization needs the changes. It's adapting and improvising and looking for the new ways how to run the business. Now, I truly believe that old way of the running business is dead, and no question asked, people have to work from home for the various reasons. I'm not going there. I'm not the Australian Bureau of Statistics, but the changes must happen sooner or later. We can't always, I was being told, if something works, don't change. And I was like, well, it won't work forever, because, you fall into that false security that everything is working, and then suddenly one day things that change out of your control, because literally what we have not much control. We have control. Well, Darren and I come today on the studio, we'll drive, we'll talk to you. But basically a lot of, on a macro level, it's happening there. We have no control. So organization, let me clarify this question now for you. Person will change when you say when this pain become unbearable. What if person decide not to change? You change it for your reasons, your reasons, but you must saw the people refusing to be changed to feel better. What's happening with that person?
Yeah. See, what I found is that people...
And then you feel guilty you can't help them?
Well, what I found is that people resist change because they fear loss, especially in an organization. It's usually 4 things that they fear that they're losing. Either their position, their job, the prestige, so it could be they have less autonomy, protection, so if it's a new operating model restructure, someone that was protecting their underperformance could be removed, so they no longer have that, and power. They're often losing their power. So you need to manage one of those 4 Ps when you're engaging them to make sure they're not scared of the future change. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some change is very disruptive. For example, many people have lost their jobs. They've been made redundant. Their contracts have been cut. But change is a part of life. You can't go through life detesting that life is like an Ernest Hemingway novel and drinking a glass of scotch every night. That's not healthy. Like, change is inevitable, but your progress is purely optional. So it's up to you how you want to see change.
I'm just going to put a little thought in there that I just had, and it's something that drove my career a lot, that when I came to change, or even just in anything I did, I always said to myself and to my team, you should strive to make your role redundant, because there comes the opportunities. And it never failed for me. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if, say, you're doing manual processes and you think, well, my role is all about this manual process, and someone takes it away from me, then I won't have a job. But if you think about, well, how do I automate that? And how do I take charge in automating that? Then people may actually look at me to give me other things to do, because I can see how to change. And so I've always used that philosophy, and it hasn't failed me.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to do more value-adding work rather than something that's so manual, right? I'll give you an example of a lady that I know that completely pivoted. So she was a makeup artist focusing on Chinese brides in the Australian market. Because of COVID, obviously, her entire revenue stream just totally vanished, seemingly overnight. So what did she do? She still was booking brides, and instead she was teaching them how to do their own makeup through Zoom, and she started publishing a makeup tutorial on YouTube. She's now making more money in advertising revenue than she did doing makeup in person, in real life, for weddings.
It is the fear in us of the changes. No question asked. Look, there's a lot of public speakers there, and frankly, I can say this to Darren, in the breaks and when we talk, and there's a lot of their blast, but most of the public speakers, they have no life experience. And, I'm not talking about education, but everybody just looks like everybody just doing centrifugal spinning around of the same words you heard somewhere, and they try to reinvent the wheel. But this is the reality situation, what you're talking about, that people, we are afraid of the change. Look, everybody's afraid of the change. I was afraid of the change when I left the diplomacy and stayed in Australia. And I was just a married kid is coming, And then my first job after 007 lifestyle of 5 years, I was a bouncer. And I couldn't accept that change. But, looking now from distance, 22 years later, I'm pretty sure I can say I'm really, really thankful to life and whatever, universe, God, whatever you want, that those changes actually taught me that I can be today somebody who I am, because the lessons. But trust me, Friska, I was bad. I want to leave everything, and the wife and the kid and everything, because I couldn't accept the change. There's no more suit anymore. There is no gun. There's no Steve Johnny, gin and tonic, and life was different. But the changes, painful. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Line 90.5 Business Insights with Mario and Darren. Darren is going to guide us to the break, and we'll come back shortly.
Just before the news. We have a few more minutes to talk.
Yes, a few more minutes.
Now, song choice, ELO, Unwind.
Friska, did you finish your lunch? No? Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Lucky Darren now we're not hungry. Like ladies and gentlemen, she just, I love this sound, Darren. I don't know what are you doing, but I sound good. That's what it is.
That's probably because you are good.
Oh, no. I am good, but not that good. I'm good because you make it sound. Anyway, back to our guest.
Oh,
Yes, of course.
romance.
That's what it is. You see, you're laughing at.
There's romance in the studio.
Yeah, so tell us, what is, there's a one, I would say, like urban myth I'm hearing quite a lot. And they say that the changes take 21 days if you're repeating every day
To form a habit?
Yeah. 21 days.
Well, they say that, apparently.
I'm doing 47 years to remove myself from chocolate, Darren. It's like it doesn't work, eh? Or maybe
Nutella.
Nutella.
It calls to you.
Did you say it's a shortage of Nutella? Because I went the other day in Woolworths and
Nutella.
That's it. I mean, like I'm drawn to the healthy section. Nutella. That's what it is. So, Friska, look, we'll take the break now because it's coming the news, so you can finish your lunch and you can call whatever you want. And then we have another 55 questions you need to answer next 60 minutes. Plus Daria another 25. I'd like to say thank you to Friska for being our guest. We'll take our break because Daria is going to lead to we have the news, the weather, and disruptions in traffic. Hopefully the strike stopped today with the public transport, with the trains. Yeah, with this one started. And we come back with the more interview questions for our lovely guest Friska Vidya after 1:05 p.m. Guest in studio, Friska Vidya. Let's go continue. We have the short break. You heard the news; it's a catastrophe, and you heard that you heard that Darren and Mario enjoyed the Bora Bora virtually, and I bought the tickets. Look, we're sharing some tickets for the flying in Bora Bora in the Maldives. So whoever can catch the flight, please be our guest. Let us know. So tell us, what is your perfect holiday destination?
Well, I go somewhere new every year because I love change, right?
Okay,
I
yes.
always want to experience something different. So before COVID, I was planning to go to the Scandinavian countries this year.
Why is that? You just love to get the pneumonia, the flu and everything
But
else.
I like the cold. No,
Yeah.
because all my friends that have gone have come back raving about Norway in particular. I wanted to see the Northern Lights. I wanted to go experience something different.
I saw that hotel in Finland, Darren.
Stay in an igloo.
Yeah, it's a glass thing. Did you saw this, Darren?
Glass, is it?
Yeah, like a glass
or-
igloo. Like you have the bed. You know what I mean? Like it's
It's
obviously
the ice
romantic.
hotel.
Yeah, ice hotel.
Yes, ice hotel, yes.
And you're sleeping. There's like all this aurora borealis above you, and then the Santa Claus is with a sled, and it's just amazing, man. Seriously, it's a beautiful place to go. But that must be, prepare for the winter because
Yes,
it's
yes,
inside.
it's minus 35 or something. They give you suits to wear.
Would you recommend everybody or anybody or particular part of population traveling is good for the changes?
Definitely.
Why is the traveling good?
Because when you don't go anywhere, you get stuck in the rigmarole of daily life and you can't see the forest for the trees. And there was actually a study done in regards to taking time out and doing something different. So they say you shouldn't go longer than 73 days without taking at least a weekend away or something to refresh your mind and your spirit. So
for 73 days or after 73 days?
They say you shouldn't go longer than 73 days of not doing anything different, of not doing anything new.
I think it's well over Mario's 73 days.
Well, listen, you killed my dreams. You told me I'm going to fly Bora Bora by the end of the next year.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I don't want to even think about it. I'm hoping in the morning it's going to be some miracle to happen to us. So when we go for the trip, what is your experience in the type of changes? Like you sit on a plane, do you leave your business behind you or you try to adjust your business in a culture where you land?
Adjust my business?
Yes.
I don't leave it behind me. I adjust a little bit. Yeah, like for example, COVID, obviously we can't travel anywhere. So instead of relying on the day-to-day consulting, which was my usual bread and butter, I started offering things virtually. And instead of big chunks, I chunked it up into small, easily digestible content because people right now, they don't like to make any decisions. They're so like this change is happening everywhere. The way we work, the way we learn, the way we parent, the way we live, it's all changing. So hence everything's taking longer. And I found smaller chunks that help you progress are more digestible. So an example is I used to run face-to-face masterclasses in-house for clients such as Newcrest, Worley. I've now offered that up to the public in a virtual format. Not just that, but I've now been able to tailor that for organizations and they've proved really, really well. So, decades of experience in 60 minutes to 90 minutes. So that is much more palatable. I've also started consulting fully remotely and that has opened a lot of doors. Like I'm no longer constrained by geographic boundaries.
Yeah.
So the last public masterclass I ran, which was 2 weeks ago, it had participants dialing in from South Africa, from Spain, from Indonesia, Singapore, and Australia.
So we talk about COVID, and as I mentioned before, like Darren and I saw the changes in business, and first 3 months we were very lonely in this studio. We hug each other like a Teletubbies because there's no humans around. But we could get one guest, I think, Darren, right? And then, people come back in the studio. Slowly that, 4 square meter rule was it 4 square meter rule?
Yeah, it still applies, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, something like this. But, like we can see the more people in the studio and, it's a different environment, it's an interaction. We have somebody like yourself in the studio. But what did you saw the biggest negative change for the businesses during COVID?
For businesses, the businesses that are reliant on face-to-face interactions, obviously retail has taken a significant hit and anything that's considered extra, like all the essentials are safe, right? Groceries, Coles, Woolies, Aldi, but anything extra, for example, clothing, I think that's taken a significant hit. Yeah.
And travel, of course.
Yeah, travel, obviously.
Stop it, yeah, seriously. I'm gonna cross this table there. It's gonna be domestic violence here in the studio.
And tourism. I mean, it's like a ghost town, the CBD nowadays.
Yeah, that is true.
So the international tourism, you mean coming in? Yeah.
And also from the state borders, right?
True.
I mean, usually there's a lot of Airbnbs that are empty. I see it now with apartments in the city. They're very open to negotiation now, the landlords.
Yeah, that is true. I've been in the city last week for the meeting with the client, and I'm still surprised how empty it is. And, I truly enjoy walking to the Pitt Street Mall, then come for the meeting, other side of the Pitt Street. And there was not many people, and even the guy who's drumming in front of the miles, he's not happy.
Yeah.
It seems like it doesn't come to. So what did you saw on a personal level changes? Because you help the individuals as well, correct?
No.
No.
Organizations.
Why?
Well, obviously when I help organizations, I help the people within them, but it's more about making changes in an organization, helping your employees accept them, embrace them, and bring them to life. Yeah, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a personal development coach. I purely help organizations. But within that, there's different realms. Like I help individuals, C-suite, sharpen their change management skills, whether it's communication effectiveness, whether it's leadership effectiveness. So, yeah.
So your business was pivoted from the face-to-face to the online.
To online, yeah.
How did you find this transition for yourself?
It was challenging, but then it validated. So the first round of lockdown, for instance, I would deliver workshops face to face, and they always had really good feedback. So the first round of lockdown, I thought, right, I'm going to get all this out and open it up to the world. And so I created an online program which people can do in the comfort of their own home, office, co-working space, whatever, because change management, it's prime time now. They realize it's not just a business skill, but it's actually a life skill. And I had to change and take into account the way people prefer to learn nowadays, which is on demand, which is video, which is short and sharp, anywhere from 1 minute to 8 minutes. And that's what I've used for my online program, and it's been quite successful.
1 to 8 minutes?
Yes. Yeah.
May I ask you why 1 to 8 minutes? Because I apologize for interrupting this way, because I've been invited so many webinars and I can't 3 hours, and literally, darling, I can't. You know what I mean? Like I want to make the lunch,
exactly,
change the baby nappies or whatever. Wash the car. 3 hours. What do you think, darling?
Well, it's the same reason why normally after 7 minutes I'm putting that big T up for you to say move on, because the attention span of our listeners is about 7 minutes.
Correct.
They want to do something.
Yeah.
They don't want to go away, but they just want to zone out for a few minutes. And so the song helps them to zone out, and we want them to be in to hear our responses, of course, and then back in for another 7 minutes.
That's interesting. 1 to 8 minutes.
Yeah. So none of my video modules is longer than 8 minutes, because that's all people can take. So they learn, they watch the video, and then there's handouts, and there's practical exercises, and it takes time to translate knowledge into ability, right? Like just because I read a book today on how to become the world's greatest golfer doesn't mean I'm going to beat Tiger Woods tomorrow. That's ridiculous. You have to practice, and it's all about just-in-time learning, and that's the principles that I've adapted in my online program.
Funny enough, you say before you take the break, I spoke today with somebody. It's a mutual friend of ours, and people being certified in 4 days to become the, what did you call that name? Personal development coach, whatever. What did you say?
A life coach or personal, yeah.
In 4 days, you can be certified to become the life coach. And I was like, what do you mean be certified? It doesn't require the practice and something. No,
Yeah.
be certified 4 days over the Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening live 90.5 Business Insights with Darren and Mari. We'll take a short break, and I'll get in studio. Physical video. She's going to share more insights after the break.
It's 20 minutes past 1. 90.5 Business Insights with Mari and Darren.
I'd like to say thank you to our guest in studio, Priska Virja. Pretty sure I'm going very well with the pronouncing.
You're doing very well.
Yeah, thank you, Darren, as well.
Thumbs up.
Darren, he taught me today something very valuable. You can check how to pronounce the name, surname. So, Priska, we talk about changes. And as I said, like, there's nobody better than yourself who has authority and credibility, not just to talk about changes, but to apply the changes alongside with your tertiary education, because you've gone through some very rough road in your life. And as I mentioned this in the earlier stage of this interview, in the first hour, I congratulate you for being very brave, because it takes a lot of courage for somebody who says this, what you said about your life, admitting mistakes, because we as a humans, we love to talk only about positive things. Everything's honka-dory, but when the life hits you in the face, everyone's like, where's my mommy in the skirt? But you applying your knowledge, experience, and education to change corporations on a better. So can you share with us what was for you most difficult transformation or changing some corporation? What was the most difficult change you experienced in your working career?
Sure. So it was for a public sector organisation, emergency services in WA. And it was difficult, not because of the number of people. It was actually one of the smallest number of people I've ever done. I think it was 550. But the fact that change was hitting them at all angles. So it was an entire physical relocation. So the office was in a decrepit old 1950s building in the CBD, but very convenient to get to by train. And they were developing a beautiful new architecturally designed, modern, smart building, which was only 45 minutes from the CBD, but because there was no train lines, it meant some people's commute would be added to at least double. And so that was one change, the physical relocation. The second change was they were replacing all the new hardware, systems, software, so quite a big leap forward into the future. There were new security processes and policies. There was also a rebranding going on. And this change had been late, and they were going through their third CEO, and I was the fifth consultant in the door, and they had been burnt by change before. So yeah, there was a lot of haterade going on, man, and not just that.
So
but
for you must be difficult when did you know that there was so many consultants and CEOs before you?
Not that many, no. Yeah.
You didn't know nobody was there before you?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
So did
why does everybody hate me?
Why, Darren? You have something to share? Or?
I was just thinking like change fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get over it.
Yeah.
It's mistrust and,
exactly.
Course, yeah.
Losing trust. And I did everything to try to turn it around. I got representatives from the Public Transport Authority to talk to them about future bus routes, future train routes and whatnot. But the biggest bugbear they had was losing their car parking privileges.
What?
Losing their car. I've had people 10 centimeters from my face yelling at me till they're blue because they were losing their car parking.
You know what I always say? People always cheat on a few things.
Yes? Share with us, Darren.
So, wives, taxes,
yes,
and parking. I've seen it throughout my career. Like you, people whinge the loudest about parking.
Oh my God.
Look,
it was
I will
crazy.
never think parking.
And so if they can cheat some way to get parking and get a bit over you, I may love you the most, but if I can get your car park, oh, happy days.
Oh.
Did you know this?
Yeah.
So-
and what
please.
frustrated me the most is like one man in particular was like, it'll take me an hour and a half to take public transport to get to the new office. Guess what? If he hopped on a bicycle, it would take him 15 minutes, but he wasn't prepared to do that.
Oh, tick for the bicycle.
Yeah.
Good one.
It's good for your health, right?
Yeah.
For God's sake. Yeah.
So
anyway,
how do you meditating this,
how do I manage it?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just you need to do some meditation or maybe I don't know some yoga classes before you experience 550
Oh,
people.
it was hard. It was very, very hard. Like it nearly broke me. It was the longest 9 months of my life. It was
9 months, yeah.
9 months. And so how I went around it is, so I wanted them to experience the change, not just me talking about it. So what I did was I had to get creative, by the way, and there was no budget as you do when it's a public sector client. So I was like, all right, how do I make them feel special, right? And so I went to the future building site where it was nearly done, and I went to all the surrounding businesses, every single one of them. And I said, hey, I'm from so-and-so. As you know, this new building and office is going to be here. I want to organize tours for the people to come here. Is there anything you can provide? And they were so thankful because you can imagine in a new area, they've got no business yet. So coffee shops,
Yes.
laundromats, restaurants, they all provided vouchers, goodie bags. I spoke to the local council. There was free calendars and da-da-da. And it's not the monetary value, but it's the fact that I did something for them. And I created a personal guide that had like a one-stop shop. Here's the gym. Here's the bank. Here's childcare, da-da-da-da-da. So it helped assimilate them to the new area. And one of the gossips that was flying around is that, oh, trains are unsafe and dirty. Like, we shouldn't get on the trains. So I was like, right, I'm going to blast that myth away. And so I negotiated with my project director at the time for transport cards, right? The equivalent of the Opal card.
Yes.
One for each employee. And I felt like a school teacher. I took them with me, 15 to 20 at a time, on the train from the CBD to the new office. And when they got there, they got goodie bags. The IT team demonstrated the new technology. The interior designers showed them the carpets, the colors, the lighting. And it was incredible. They came back and they were giddy. They were like kids in a candy store because no one goes to this sort of effort to get people to embrace change, right? And I'm not saying there were always going to be some haters,
Of
but
course.
it was significantly reduced, and the ones that were left were no longer loud and proud, right? So I had to do something very different
Are you
to
proud of
jar.
yourself? Are you proud of yourself? You are when you achieve the task like this.
For that? Yeah.
How proud you are. How,
it's not
how
just-
you feel? Share with us. How you feel when you are? We all work for the money. Darren,
Yeah.
we're getting $5 million per year for being in this radio station, but that's not enough. Part of being awarded financially for your time and for your effort and what you're doing for organization. How do you feel inside? Do you feel like I managed to do something what most of the people before me
Yeah.
couldn't even
Oh,
contemplate.
I very much have achiever fever. I'm always striving for more, doing more.
Fever.
And what was really sweet is that some people came up to me afterwards because it was a new train line. They said, "Oh my God, Friska, that was incredible. On the weekend, I actually took my grandson on the train and he loved it." These are people that have never taken public transport before. And that one change
working
opened
in
the
it,
door
public
for more
transport, yeah.
changes, not just in their business life, but in their personal life as well.
The funny thing is what you're saying. I never drove myself on new metro, and it's under my house station. Now makes me this think here. Darren, did you have experience like this? Somebody comes and done the changes we used to be walking.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about the point that often change, best received, is when you take it on board and it does change your life as well. In my previous role, I was mentoring 2 people, similar.
Yeah.
One engaged, changed, and actually one day said, "You know what? I've changed in my life as well, and it's just been so great." The other one always resisted, and yeah, it was always too hard.
This is the reason why I love you, Darren, you know what I mean? But we'll take a short break. You're listening to Live 90.5 Business Insights with Mari and Darren. Darren is going to post tonight thanks to his magic touch on technology. Go on the website live905.com.au. The interview with Friska Virja is going to be available for you, and you want that lady to change the organization on better. Even she's not jar of Nutella to make everybody happy. 550 people in Western Australia. It's a lot.
Nutella will be in your goodie bag.
Live 90.5.
It's 27 minutes to 2, live 90.5 Business Insights with Mari and Darren.
And thank you, Darren, for the making magical touch on technology. For all our listeners who would like to join us in studio live, please come on the Facebook page, Business Insights with Mari and Darren, and you can enjoy the real-time conversation in studio with the video. You can see our guest in studio, Friska Virja, and as well, you can come on our website at live905.com.au, press the button stream live, and you can hear my sexy voice and Darren his poor English, and our guest in studio like Friska. She's smiling, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde now again in function. So Friska, we talk about changes. You share with us your most difficult experience in your career, but can you share with us more successful changes you experienced in your life and career?
So it was a $42 million technology implementation for the world's single largest policing jurisdiction. There were about 7,500 officers and 1,500 civilians that had to use this new system. And this new system was like a heart and lung transplant. The old heart was 10 years old and on death's doorstep. And it was the system that is used to dispatch, track, audit calls for police assistance, right? 000 calls. So the stakes were literally life or death. If I buggered that up, imagine sending a police helicopter in the wrong direction, right? And so not just that,
God,
but it
it's
was...
not funny, but it's true.
It's true. It's true. It was connected to Department of Health, Department of Justice, Centrelink. So all these... It was like tentacles, and what I had to do is I had to disconnect all the veins and the arteries and the lungs, put the new heart in, and reconnect it so everything would be stronger than ever before. It was like implementing a pacemaker. And because the system was 10 years old, it was like going from the blue screen MS-DOS of death to the latest generation iPhone, because it was quite a significant leap into the future.
I just like how you explain this from the
lovely,
blue,
isn't it? Yeah.
blue screen MS-DOS to
We remember that, right? It was like
yeah.
IP config, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and now next generation iPhone. So that's what I had to do. And because it was a 24/7 operation, you can imagine how many balls in the air there were when it came to coordinating logistics for training, right? Just because here I was pulling officers from the streets whose only job in life is to maintain our safety and our quality of life and get them trained in this new system. So that was my most satisfying by far. And we did that seamlessly with a switchover. And it's then been recognised by an independent panel by the federal government as being best in class for its change management.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a big thing.
That's huge.
Particularly when you're working with emergency services, I'll call generally. You know, what I mean, doesn't matter police or ambulance, fire brigades. So, when you do these things, I can hear that you understand technology, you understand the human behavior, you understand many aspects of those ones. Did you learn this along the way, or did you learn this in school or university?
No, definitely not in school. At the end of the day, the undergrad, the postgrad, and the MBA, it just got my foot in the door. It was just a piece of paper, but I'm always learning. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm continuously investing in myself, listening to podcasts, going on YouTube, reading books. And the thing with change management is what works for company A is not going to work for company B. So the more frameworks and solutions you have in your toolkit, the more likely you are to be able to manage change for different clients, different countries, different geographies, changes of different types. So it's all about continuous learning. But at the end of the day, you really have to understand people's internal responses to change. So how can you use involvement or education or participation to help shift the needle? And also you have to really be really good at developing relationships quickly and identifying who in the business can help you shift the needle. So who are the key influencers? They're not always the most senior person in the room. And you do that by asking questions, observing, and mapping that out in great detail. Because it's not me making the change. Like, I can just develop the strategy, but to ensure my strategy is fit for purpose, it needs to be validated by people in the business.
It's interesting because you said earlier, in Western Australia, you spent 9 months to that very difficult situation to do it, and then you have something like this, like a police emergency management organization. It is a lot of time consuming, so you must love this job.
It is very time consuming. Yes.
It must be, because it's like you come 9 to 5, like in the morning, 9 o'clock, have a cup of coffee and, okay guys, let's go do this and this and this. It's a really time consuming, and you're dealing with the different, not aspects of life or technology, but as well different people, different behavior, background, sorry, apologies, different backgrounds who has different behavior, male and female, and that's all this, like, how do you look after yourself? Who is working with you to don't change to be that successful?
Okay. So how I look after myself is that I have a routine. So I have a gratitude practice, and I'm not going to be naff and tell you to name 3 things that you're grateful for, because everybody says that. But instead,
unbelievable! I was being told this yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
Yes, Darren.
Nutella.
Nutella.
Darren.
I'm not going to say that, but instead I use the unavoidable pauses in my life to just have a think about what I'm grateful for. And that really helps give me perspective. I'll give you an example. On my way here, on the commute, instead of, complaining that it was hot or whatnot, I use that time, that self-reflection time, to say what went well for me today, or name 3 things that are positive that's going well for me today. Mental and physical health is also a big part of my life. And so I learnt to fit that in no matter how busy I am. When I was working for a large mining company, I would have to travel quite often. And it's not your 5-star hotels. It's often your shitty 1-bedroom dongas in a remote mine site on the side of a volcano. And so I had to remove any excuses, and I had to find out what worked for me. And when I was living in California as well, sometimes the traffic to go to a gym was more than the workout. So I had to learn how to, what apps were out there. And there's so many free apps out there that range from 3 minutes to 1 hour long workouts, and they're all free. So again, we talked about support, structures, skills, and systems. So what are the support mechanisms I need to bring this change to life? And what are the skills I need? And how do I need to educate myself? And that's my perspective for everything.
I have something, Darren, to share. There is something. I need to ask you, Friska, one personal question. I know that my changes in my life personally, it was a difficult time to accept many things in my life. And, as you mentioned, somehow I saw my life when you started the beginning of the interview saying one thing was leading to another and spiraling out of control. It was all my choices and my decisions. And we are the product of our choices, no question asked. But I'm hearing lately about gratitude, right? Not just 3 things, but yesterday somebody told me you should have your mobile phone when you wake up in the morning, alarm 7 o'clock in the morning, to when you get alarm, to say thank you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, why the people don't accept this to be grateful for what they have. What is this they don't want to change? Because it took me a long time to start practicing this, to say, I don't know, thank you God for being today in the studio with Darren, which is true. Like I'm grateful because I will never be on a radio anywhere around the world except in Sydney. That is the fact that's given. But the point it is, why is it important for us to say those gratitudes to ourselves?
Because then the journey will never be enough.
As I said, this is my personal question.
Yeah.
So like this is not like for the business size or you know, just the three of us in studio and 2.8 million people listen. So that's okay. So,
I mean, if you're constantly lusting after what you don't have instead of being thankful for what you do have, you're never going to be content in life. And that's a miserable way to live life, you know. And there will always be someone that seemingly has more than you, right? Whether it's money, whether it's fame, whether it's whatever. But you got to keep in mind that's what they're projecting externally. So you shouldn't let what someone's projecting outside, either in a meeting or on social media, don't let that determine how you feel on the inside, because then you'll never be fulfilled.
Well, thank you, Friska. We'll take a short break. I'm going to write this down. I try to write everything what Friska says. I need to listen to this interview again on the line.
Exactly. Listen again. It'll be on the podcast later this afternoon on live95.com.au. Look for Business Insights under podcast, or jump on my Facebook or LinkedIn and even YouTube to watch us again and get all the tips that you need. Live95 Business Insights. Back shortly. It's 11 minutes to 2. It's 10 minutes to 2. You're live 90.5 Business Insights with Marion Darren.
And unfortunately, time's running out for our show today. Again, I'd like to say thank you to all our listeners on Line 90.5. Thank you for tuning in this Friday, this great radio station. Thank you for coming on Facebook page Business Insights with Marion Darren. Thank you, Darren Kebs Davis, for having magic touch, who understand technology and making these interviews live, not just for this show, for every show on our website, live905.com.au. And tonight you're going to be able to listen to this very powerful, compelling story and our guest, Friska Virja. I said this only one breath. Oh, that's good. Anyway, the point is, Friska, I was doing a little bit stalking about you. And I learned that you're gonna publish the book soon.
I'm publishing a compilation of my 11 most highest viewed articles.
What do you mean articles?
I've been blogging for quite a number of years, and I write a lot of articles. So this is a compilation of my 11 best. Yeah,
I've done the online dating as well, the blogging, and people go to the party, so that didn't work for me very well. Then I met Darren told me come to work.
So it's the best of Friska, is it?
The best of the best.
Best of the best.
Is that the name?
No. It's called The Change Compendium, Volume 1.
And our guest in studio, Darren, did you know that? She's giving 10,000 copies of the book for free.
For all our listeners.
For our listeners.
Like
10,000 book copies on a... Sorry, what? I forgot how to lie. What did I was supposed to say 10,000.
Friska.
What's the name of the book?
The Change Compendium.
The Change Compendium.
What's it mean, compendium? Do you mind to share?
Collection.
Collection.
It's a collection. Compendium.
It's a collection.
Jesus.
New word for you.
It's in English. It's in English. I forgot that one. So to our listeners of the Live 90.5 Business Insights with Darren and Mario, and everybody who's listening on Live 90.5, please come on our website today. The Facebook page Business Insights with Mario and Darren, and you can find the details of our guest Friska Virja. 10,000 copies for free. 10,000 first listeners. Friska, anything else to add? And 10,000 copies for free, and a 1 hour consultation for free.
No 1 hour consultation. I'll be doing that till I'm 103.
No, free Nutella as well, though.
No, free Nutella.
But Friska, how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out and learn more about change management and all that you can share with making their businesses achieve change better?
Yep. So there's a few different avenues for that. My website is freshbyfriska.com. You can also hit me up on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Friska Virja, Wirya, and they can email me at hello@freshbyfriska.com.
hello@freshbyfriska.com.
Sorry.
I love it.
Sorry, hello,
I love it.
hello, free.
Hello.
Is that a website or sorry?
The
Your email.
website is freshbyfriska.com, and I'll tell you why. Okay, they often ask me why fresh. Why fresh? Well,
That's very good, actually. I like
love
it.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
please. Yeah.
it's because my approach to driving outcomes when it comes to transformation and change is very fresh. It's not boring. Like we talked earlier about
that's right.
literally taking people on the train with me and doing a massive showcase. It's because I get cut through in a way that's innovative and fresh, hence that. Plus, I was born on a Friday, and my father thought I looked really fresh, and he combined Friday and fresca, which is Spanish for fresh, turned it into Frisca. So there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but this is what your father said. You look fresh.
He said I look fresh.
So Fresh
I
by
know.
Friska is a full compendium of your whole life story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, ladies and gentlemen, freshbyfriska.com.au. Just quote hello, Darin and Mari. You get to get 50% of consultancy, and the first 10,000 listeners is gonna get a book. Sorry, Darin, compendium of.
Look,
The best
story.
change article.
Sorry, what's the name of the book?
The Change Compendium.
The change, but that's what I ask you. Darin and Friska, they confuse me. With English. You're listening another episode of Business Insights with Mari and Darin. Darin, I wish you a very, very great weekend. Enjoy. It's gonna be very hot. Enjoy the beach. I'd like to say thank you, Friska, for being our guest today. No paid consultations, but hop on her website for the book Compendium of Changes. 10,000 best blogs.
Whatever.
Whatever. That was another episode of Business Insights with Darin and Mario.
We'll be back
Thank you for
next
listening.
week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to make it funny, but people continue that. Some people